Grand Rising. Happy Tuesday. I pray everybody's having a positive, productive start to your day today. If not, I pray that your angels, ancestors, spirit guides, and of course the Most High help you with that today. I also pray that He clothes us in His armor from head to toe, that He strengthens our discernment and guides our steps as we go throughout this day. I hope everybody is enjoying pretty weather in your area. It's a beautiful sunshiny day here in Tennessee. We're going to get started with our morning mantra. Then we'll get into the affirmations and then the oracles. I do have the door open and the dogs are up moving around, so I apologize in advance for any distractions. Also, if this is your first time coming across one of my videos, just know that I have over 600 videos here on YouTube, everything from daily devotionals, affirmations, encouragement, motivation, and advice. I would appreciate a thumbs up. I would really appreciate if you subscribe to the channel. My Cash App information is in the description box or on my information slot on my main page. All right, we'll get a morning mantra, then we'll get a grief affirmation for the day. I've got hand pan playing in the background. That's way too many. I can do anything I want to with my life within the legal limits of my country. No wasted days, no reason not to try. So, positive thinking. You can do anything you set your mind to, no matter what the hurdles may be that you're trying to overcome. I will be starting a question series soon where I'll come on and do lives and people can ask questions. Confirmation on that. Incoming call. 2:41 on the timer as we're getting started. All right, our grief affirmation for the day. The reality is that you will grieve forever. You will never get over the loss of a loved one. You will learn to live with it. You will heal and you will rebuild yourself around the loss you have suffered. You will be whole again, but you will never be the same. Nor should you be the same, nor would you want to be. Grand Rising, I hope everybody's having a great day so far today. Positive and productive energy. All right, so, doing the best that we can with what we have, knowing that our loved ones are always with us. The memories, the love that they shared with us, we carry on throughout our lives. The grief is always going to be there. There's always going to be good times where we have the good memories. Then we're going to have those times where we remember the bad memories. But knowing that the love that we carry through us, if we share that love with other people, it'll help us get through those hard times. We talk about it often about, the energy that you put out is the energy that comes back to you, and sharing that kindness and that love and that sympathy and that empathy with other people, it helps you feel better. Grand Rising, happy Tuesday. All right, now we'll get a chakra affirmation for the day. Yesterday we got throat chakra, the 5th chakra, expressing my feelings. That's something that a lot of people aren't comfortable with, expressing your feelings. But always remember that even if you don't have a physical person in your life that you can talk to get those feelings out. Journaling is a great way to do that. Also, prayer is a good way to do that. All right, we'll get an affirmation, then we'll get our incense lit. That's too many. We just want one. Summer is definitely in full, or I should say spring. It feels like summer because it's so humid. But spring is definitely in full force in my area in Tennessee. The sun's shining. The breeze is blowing just a little bit. I'm thankful for the beautiful weather. I do know that Max Velocity here on YouTube said that there are areas that are going to be getting hit with some bad weather this week. So, you know, if you haven't seen Max here on YouTube, go check him out. Also, you know, just be weather aware. He says it all the time. Just because you're not aware of the bad weather doesn't mean it's not there. All right, we got fourth chakra, heart chakra, unconditional love, represented by the color green. We've been seeing a lot of heart chakra here lately. The fragrance for heart chakra is jasmine. Shout out to Elegant Expressions Aromatherapy. That's the brand of incense that I use. You can get them at Dollar Tree. You can order them online. But as I've said before, you know, there's a lot of other brands that have the chakra incense. The heart chakra is represented by the lotus of 12 petals. It's in the middle of the chest. It regulates the thymus, heart, lungs, circulation, hands, shoulders, breasts, and upper back. Personal areas of growth, giving and receiving unconditional love. So kind of going back to what we've already mentioned this morning, you know, sharing the love that you have with others and allowing others to share that love with you. All right, the affirmation: I allow myself to be open to giving and receiving love without fear of rejection. I give without expecting recognition or acknowledgement in return. When I am loving to others, I am helping bring out the innate love within them so they also feel uplifted, worthy, and cared for. I love myself the way I am, not the way I was or could be, and I extend this love to others. I teach others how to love and respect me by how I love and respect myself. So that very much connects with what we talked about yesterday. Learning to love yourself, learning to care for yourself so that you can share that with others and so that you can receive that with others. You know, if you don't learn how to love yourself, then you're not gonna be able to accept the love that's coming from others. Vice versa. You know, sometimes sharing that love and empathy and sympathy with other people helps you learn how to love and sympathize with yourself. You know, not holding that self-resentment, not holding resentment or grudges towards other people. You know, letting love work through you to let go of things that may have hurt you in the past. All right, now we're going to get a wild offering oracle. All right. Clarity, also the color green. Once again, lining up with the heart chakra. Wanting clarity can keep us stuck. Seeking clarity, sometimes I'm hearing, you know, you think you want the truth, but you can't really handle the truth. You know, so we seek that clarity so much that, you know, we get our own vision of what we think that clarity is going to be. So a lot of times it can bring disappointment. All right, let me trust my deepest instincts in all ways, especially when matters are unclear. May my own holy intuition always guide the way. So learning how to trust your intuition, learning how to listen to your intuition, whether that's in regards to a specific situation or a specific person. Darling, quit. Accepting that sometimes, even though the clarity may not be what we want to hear, maybe it's what we need to hear. You want the truth, but you can't handle the truth. You know, a lot of times we seek that clarity and, you know, we think that it's going to help us feel better, but Sometimes, we have to push through that pain before we can get that relief. But remembering, going back to our daily mantra, remember that you can do anything that you set your mind to, whether that's healing your emotional self, whether that's healing your inner child, whether that's, accepting things the way that they are so that you can move on. Clarity does bring acceptance. It helps us see things the way they are, not the way we want them to be. All right, now we're going to do our educational moment for the day with our state card. Last time we got Montana. Utah. Another red, just like yesterday with Montana. All right, the capital of Utah is Salt Lake City. Its nickname is the Beehive State. It officially became a state January 4th of 1896. The state bird is the California gull, like a seagull. The state flower is a Sego lily, and the motto is industry. A quick fact, the Great Salt Lake is the greatest saltwater lake in the Western Hemisphere. Wow. In February of 2002, Salt Lake City hosted the 19th Olympic Games. All right. Salt Lake City, Utah. All right, now we'll get our Stress Less Namaste card. Yesterday, we got the power of touch. Going back to the clarity card, a lot of times we seek that clarity because we think that in some way, shape, or form, it's going to change the situation. But a lot of times when we get that clarity that we seek, it can make things more complicated because it may expose things about a person, situation, family, friends, that maybe, obviously, if you're seeking clarity, it's something that you didn't know. So, accept what clarity is given to you. Don't try to, that old saying, don't try to paint, when somebody shows you their true colors, don't try to paint them different. When you receive clarity, whether it's about a person, place, situation, even like a work environment or something, don't try to paint it a different color. Don't try to make it something that it's not. Be honest with yourself. Accept things for how they are, not how you want them to be. All right, now we'll get a Stress Less card from the Namaste deck. No matter what clarity comes, remember unconditional love for yourself and for others. Sympathy and empathy. Remember that showing love to others, no matter what the situation is, act out of love, respect. Remember the things you are good at. We've seen this before. Make a list of all the things that you are good at. If you need help, ask people close to you what they feel your best characteristics are. Ask people what talents they believe you possess. The range of good things will start pouring in from small to large. As your list comes to a close, be amazed and grateful for all the things you have become proficient in. You have acquired much skill. Be thankful. Being grateful helps our body react in a positive way. All of a sudden, we can feel an overwhelming sense of abundance when we remember to be grateful for the things we have or are good at. This will help vanquish any feelings of stress. So that very much can line up with the clarity card. You know, being honest with yourself, and this very much connects to what we talked to yesterday. Being honest with yourself about how far you've come, the things that you've accomplished, how much you've grown, the things that maybe you didn't used to be good at, but now you're good at. You know, make a list. Even if you don't have, do you vape? Sometimes the smoke that you're seeing right now, though, is from the incense. Let's pause for a second. Let me see what they're barking at. Come on, get inside. Come on, Copper. Come on. Come on. All right, come on, come sit down. Okay. I just went ahead and closed the door. When I get distracted, it pulls me off course. Okay, now we'll pull Angel of Abundance card. Yesterday, we saw it's safe for you to receive, release jealousy, and the power of prayer. So, you know, releasing those negative emotions that maybe you have for yourself, or maybe that you have for certain situations. Going back to the clarity, you know, accepting things for how they are. Being jealous of other people, all that's going to do is hold you back. You know, be proud of other people for the accomplishments that they've made. Put that positive energy out there, and it'll come back to you. Maybe not in the way that you want it to, but it will. You know, a lot of times we have expectations, and when those expectations aren't met, we feel like we haven't made that accomplishment. But look at that. There were several flipped over already. Okay. Angels of Abundance. Take a divinely guided chance. Moonlighting on the bottom of the deck. Dreams of abundance on the top of the deck. We did see abundance yesterday in our chakra oracle. That's what we got yesterday. All right. Take a divinely guided chance. All positive change and successful ventures involve a degree of risk, and you are ready to follow your divine guidance to new territories. As you leave behind that which is comfortable and familiar, but no longer appropriate for you, you make room for new and more meaningful opportunities. So kind of going back to what we already talked about, you know, acknowledging the accomplishments you've made, acknowledging, you know, your character, your personality traits, your characteristics that you've been able to expand and be more comfortable with, you know, that saying, new levels, new devils, you know, once we've accomplished certain things, you know, it's time to take a step forward. You know, if you've been working on certain things, you know, maybe it's time to implement the things that you've learned from whatever situation that was, and moving on to working on other things. All right, and then we got moonlighting. You can start working on your dream career part-time while keeping your other job to pay the bills. Soon, your dream career will take flight and fully support you. So maybe going back to the clarity and the unconditional love, you know, and that's also makes me think about like embracing change, going along with take a divinely guided chance, you know, embracing the changes that are coming, you know, loving yourself unconditionally because of how far you've come. remembering the things that you're good at. You know, a lot of times we get so focused on a certain area that we forget that, you know, especially if we have a daily job, you know, the daily grind, we forget about all the little special traits and skills that we have that maybe we don't use in our daily job. So embracing those character traits and finding a way to creatively apply them to your lives. All right, and then dreams of abundance. As you sleep, God, your angels, and your higher self are giving you divinely guided ideas, answers, and solutions. Be sure to record your dreams in a journal. We did talk about journaling already this morning because they contain valuable insights that will help you manifest your desires into reality. And it's funny that we got that card this morning because I dreamed for the first time in a while last night, or I should say I remembered it when I woke up. And something that I've noticed about my dreams, which I don't write them down like I should, but that's because when I get up, I just jump out of bed and start my day, which, you know, maybe that's something, I know that's something that I need to get better about. That's something that a lot of us need to get better about because a lot of times there are hidden messages in our dreams. And, you know, maybe when we first wake up and we're thinking about that dream, we may not see those hidden messages. But if we can try to write down as much as possible and then come back to it later, a lot of times there can be hidden messages in those dreams. But something that I've noticed about my dreams, and you guys may notice this as well, there always seems to be like the same people in my dreams. The environment will be different, you know, what's going on around us will be different, but it's always the same people. And for me, the odd part is one of the guys that's very often in my dreams, I have not seen him in a long time. And we were acquaintances. We weren't necessarily friends. But almost every time I dream, he's there. So, you know, different things like that might mean something. Okay. I mean, something different for everybody, depending on, you know, what those common threads are from your dreams. Okay, let me get the old cards from yesterday. And then now we'll do the celestial insights and the angel numbers. Actually, first, let's get an affirmation from the affirmators deck. Yesterday, we got don't take it personally and inspiration. Sorry if my voice sounds a little bit cloggy. I'm drinking my mica milk this morning. I got me some of the mica green tea powder. And so I made me like a, I don't know what, I guess you would refer to it as a smoothie. I just used milk for the most part, but I'm experimenting with different ways to drink the powder. All right, we got connection and strength. Penguins on the connection card. Strength. You are hereby declared a strong, resilient warrior of heroic proportions. Enjoy your battles, whatever they are, because you're guaranteed to come through them stronger, brighter, and more compassionate. And based what I know of mythology, probably with great hair and a six-pack. I love the humor that they use in these cards. Finding your inner strength, very much lining up with remember the things that you're good at from the Namaste deck. You know, knowing what your strengths are, applying that to how far you've come, you know, getting clarity on doing the self reflection, introspection to find out what your strengths are. You know, if you don't have a lot of confidence in yourself, a lot of times when we're struggling with that, we don't see what our strengths truly are. And sometimes, you know, we kind of have to look outside of ourselves to see what those are. And sometimes we don't see them until we go, you know, that saying, you don't know how strong you are until you don't have a choice. A lot of times we don't realize our areas of strength until we're put in a situation where we have to be strong. All right, and then we got connection. I'm connected to the multitudes, and I can access their support at any time. Even a stranger offers a sense of comfort when they smile at me or make a dumb comment about the weather. Everyone is waiting to connect. All I need to do is open myself up and pay attention. Note to self: work on witty banner about weather-related stuff. So, this kind of connects with what we talked about yesterday. Opening yourself up to connect with other people. And for a lot of us, that requires pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone, which is not easy to do. I am very much an introvert, so I don't necessarily have a problem connecting with strangers, but I very much put myself out of my comfort zone when I do that. And a lot of time, that's a good thing. Pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, experiencing things that you wouldn't normally experience. That's another way to find out what your strengths are. No, it may not be easy to do, but in the end, it's worth it because you learn things not only about yourself, but about the people around you, the environment that you're in. All right, now we'll get a celestial insights. And that very much lines up with our morning mantra. I can do anything I want with my life. No wasted days. No reason not to try. We talked about that a lot yesterday. You never know if you don't try. Yes, it may be uncomfortable. It may even be awkward. And, especially when you're putting yourself out there like that, you're always taking a risk. And it may be scary, it may be intimidating, but a lot of times when we take those risks, we find out in the end that the risk was worth taking. It can even, when you take those chances, it can give you clarity about who you are, about the unconditional love that you have to share with the world. You may express your love differently than somebody else, but the way you express that love, what do they call that? Your love language. The way you express that may be exactly what somebody else needs at that time. There's been a lot of times in my life where I literally will meet a complete stranger and stuff will just start coming out of my mouth, and I'll just say, I don't know why I said that, but obviously it was something they needed to hear. And you can tell by the response that you get from that person. There's been a lot of times where, I'll just make little comments that, when I look back on it, I don't really know why I said it, but I got a positive response from that person. And even if that response was tears, sometimes those tears are tears because they needed that unconditional love. In that moment, in that day, whatever was happening, they needed that. And you met that need. It was 28:28 when I looked at the timer. We got gratitude. It always shows up in some way, shape, or form. And then we got admiration on the bottom of the deck. Guilty on the top of the deck. Okay. Whatever you're carrying guilt about, let it go. We can't change the past. Forgive yourself. The card actually says guilt can hold you back. Are you carrying the weight of a past decision? Forgive yourself and move forward. Only then can you truly grow. Yes, we talk about it a lot. Self-forgiveness is one of the hardest things. But that goes along with the unconditional love from the heart chakra affirmation. A way of showing unconditional love is letting go of that guilt, letting go of whatever anxiety, pain, confusion that you associate with whatever is causing you to carry that guilt. Loving yourself enough to let it go. I know it's hard. I have so many stories where I carried that guilt and can I even say shame for years. But holding on to that guilt is holding you back. It's stopping you from growing. It's stopping you from healing. And holding on to that guilt can also affect the choices that you make current day. Yes, learn the lesson from whatever that was. Remember that lesson when the time comes so that you don't make the same mistake again. But don't hold yourself back because of it. Don't shame yourself just because, you took a wrong turn. I don't know why I'm getting this example, but, say you're using your GPS, you're going somewhere you've never been before, and you take a wrong turn, but the GPS redirects you, right? I very much look at my angels, ancestors, spirit guides as like a spiritual GPS. You don't keep beating yourself up over and over and over again because you took a wrong turn, right? You do the Yui and you get back on track. And believe me, I know it's hard, especially when we can make bad decisions that can totally change the trajectory of our life. And I totally understand that. But it's important to love yourself enough to see the situation clearly. Going back to our clarity card, seeing the situation clearly so that you can move past it, so that you can learn from it instead of it causing you to lose out on new opportunities or just losing out on growth or love. Especially if you're referring to like intimate relationships. If you've made mistakes in the past with relationships, Grand Rising, happy Tuesday. I hope everybody's having a positive, productive day today. We also got gratitude. Gratitude brings more joy and abundance. Have you been overlooking the good in your life? Take a moment to appreciate what you have. This mindset will attract even more positivity. So, making the best out of we talk about it. I'm turning my fan around. We talk about it a lot, looking at things from a different perspective. It may not necessarily be the easiest thing to do, but when you can honestly, authentically look at things from a different perspective, a lot of times that's where the clarity lies. But it may help you to overcome that guilt. Being grateful for the lessons that were learned, kind of going back to the strength affirmation and remember the things that you're good at from the Namaste deck. A lot of times it takes going through a negative situation for us to find our strength. So being grateful for the things that you've been through, even though it may not have been necessarily a positive situation. It was 33 minutes and 33 seconds on the timer. All right, and then we got admiration. You are worthy of admiration and respect. Have you been downplaying your value? Accept compliments and be proud of your achievements. You deserve recognition. Bam. I don't know why I like saying that so much, but that very much, like in a nutshell, what we've been talking about so far this morning. Being proud of yourself for what you've overcome. Letting go of the guilt for maybe bad decisions that were made, and being grateful for what was learned. Out of that guilt, out of that shame, out of those bad decisions that were made, there can be good that comes from it. For a lot of people, just being able to do that pushes them out of their comfort zone. And kind of going back to what we talked about yesterday with the self-accountability, that's not necessarily something that comes easy to people. You know, it's easy for us to find flaws in others, but it can be very difficult for us to accept accountability for the role that we played in whatever situation. But don't let that self accountability lead to guilt. Be honest with yourself, love yourself through whatever has happened, grieve if you need to, but remember that you can do anything. You can overcome all of that. But it takes work, it takes effort, it takes gratitude, it takes remembering the things that you're good at, it takes strength. And sometimes it takes connecting with other people, either other people that have been through what you've been through, other people that can maybe help you look at things from a different perspective. All right, now we'll get a couple angel numbers. So letting go, kind of in a nutshell, what we've gotten so far, letting go of the guilt, seeking clarity. Don't try to paint it different once you get that clarity. You know, don't put the blame off on somebody else. Don't lack faith in yourself to where you feel like maybe that clarity isn't what you, going back to the expectations, that clarity isn't what you expected, but that clarity is what you needed. All right. Pushing through the pain. That was quick. 404, mind energy. 7 on the bottom of the deck, soul purpose. And then 1010 on the top of the deck, embrace the journey. 404 is the main number that we got. Focus, determination, preparation, mental strength. Look at that. Clarity, resolve, and future readiness. Lining up with 2 of the cards that we already have out here. Sorry, I'm getting kind of burpy. Prepare your mind for future challenges. Mental strength and focus will help you overcome obstacles with determination and hard work. What mental habits do you need to strengthen in order to be fully prepared for future challenges? Very much lining up with our affirmations and the Namaste deck. Remembering the things that you're good at. Remembering that a lot of those things that you carried guilt about actually showed you what your strengths are. Set aside time each day for mindfulness or mental exercises that can improve your focus and clarity. We did get the clarity affirmation. We got clarity. Visualize yourself successfully overcoming future obstacles. So, you know, once you get that clarity, even though it may not be what you expected it to be, using that to your advantage, you know, using it to strengthen yourself or the things, you know, remembering the things that you're good at, finding strength in the things that you're good at, you know, always remembering that the connections that we make may help us to find that strength. It may help us to embrace those things that we're good at. You know, maybe if you fail to see yourself with unconditional love, a lot of times we fail to see our strengths. Something that we may view as a flaw to somebody else or in a certain situation may actually be a strength. So staying focused and determined to do that, to find out what your strengths are, to embrace your strengths. Doing that inner work. All right, then we got 7, soul purpose. Life path, divine guidance, success, alignment, mission, and fulfillment. Your angels are pleased with your life choices and are letting you know that you're on the right path. Keep up the good work as you are successfully fulfilling your soul purpose and life mission. How can you continue to align your daily actions with your soul purpose and life mission? So, for a lot of us, I think that's where we seek clarity the most. Trying to find out what our life purpose is, what our soul purpose is. Sometimes it takes certain connections to show us what that is. Today, acknowledge the progress that you've made and take a moment to reaffirm your commitment to your soul's true calling. So, that may be the clarity that we need to seek. Finding that alignment, finding that what brings fulfillment. What in your life makes you feel like you have purpose? A lot of us struggle with what our purpose is. Like, why are we here? What are we meant to do? And it's different for everybody. Some of us are here to show unconditional love, which goes with our affirmation, to the world, to people that come into our lives that don't know what that unconditional love feels like. Sometimes somebody's life purpose is to bring that unconditional love to us, because a lot of times we know how to give it to others, but we don't know how to give it to ourselves. All right, and then we got 1010. Embrace the journey. Journey, trust, opportunities, progress, happiness, and alignment. It's time to bring your cherished ideas to life. The right people, circumstances, and resources are aligning in your favor. Happiness and new opportunities are on the horizon. What steps can you take to embrace the journey ahead? How can you stay open to new opportunities being sent your way? Take a moment to reflect on your long-held dreams and ideas. Begin implementing one step at a time, trusting that the universe is sending you the support you need. Lining up with the connection, embracing those new connections that come into your life. A lot of times they only come in for a season. They're not... People that come into our lives aren't necessarily meant to be there for the whole journey. They're just there for a season. And 9 times out of 10, they're there to teach us something. Whether it's something that we need to learn about ourselves, something that maybe we need to see about the world around us. Maybe it's to open our eyes to what our purpose here is, what this journey is all about. Believe it or not, there's a lot of people that are still walking around here with their eyes closed. They're confused or even oblivious to what this journey is really all about. Valuing those opportunities that come your way, whether it's somebody coming into your life or you coming into somebody else's life, embracing those opportunities to share knowledge, to share the unconditional love, maybe to open somebody's eyes, maybe just to show gratitude to the world around us for the lessons we've learned, the connections that we've made. All right, now we'll get Crystal's card. Explore the universe of gems and minerals. We got aquamarine on the bottom of the deck as we're getting started. So remembering the things that you're good at. Practicing unconditional love, not only for yourself, but the people that come to you. Hello, Grand Rising. Happy Tuesday. I hope you're having a positive and productive day so far today. All right, so remembering, going back to our morning mantra, I can do anything I want with my life. No wasted days, no reason not to try. Embracing the unexpected. Embracing the unconditional love that comes from your angels, ancestors, spirit guides, the Most High, the unconditional love that you have to share with others. 44 on the timer when I look. Embracing the journey, remembering the things that you're good at, what your strengths are, maybe even making connections that bring out those strengths, or making connections that can build new strengths. Being grateful for the people, places, things, situations that come into your life, knowing that, everything is a learning experience. That was a messy shuffle. All right. Remembering that even in the quest for clarity, you may not hear the things that you want to hear. A lot of times when we get those messages from spirit, it's not what we want to hear, it's what we need to hear. And a lot of times we have to remember that, spirit, the Most High, however you want to look at it, sends people our way so that they can teach us something, so that they can teach us unconditional love, help us how to love ourselves, so they can open our eyes to maybe some guilt and shame that we're carrying that's holding us back. All right, we got Morganite and Howlite. Two very white, almost crystal energy right there. Howlite, perspective, compassion, and patience. And then Morganite, compassion, renewal, and love. So compassion on both of those cards. Going back to that very much lines up with the admiration from the celestial insights. Having compassion for yourself, having compassion for the people around you, understanding that, we're all on this journey together. It's not a competition. We're here to help each other, to encourage each other, to embrace the unknowns. Crystal fact. Morganite's peachy color comes from the mineral magnesium. And then howlite, the crystal fact. Howlite is found in sedimentary rock, a type of stone that forms from slowly deposited particles often left behind by water. That very almost looks like rose quartz, the Morganite. And the howlite looks a lot like granite or marble. All right, now we'll do Chakra Wisdom Oracle. Yesterday we got abundance. Today in our Angel of Abundance, we did get dreams of abundance. So abundance energy, it's not a competition. The abundance is there by the universe. The abundance is unlimited. There's not a limit to the abundance that we can receive, the abundance that we can share. Remembering that abundance isn't always necessarily material things. There's spiritual abundance, financial abundance, material abundance, emotional abundance. Abundance isn't just about money. Some of the richest people in the world are some of the most miserable people in the world. Money cannot buy happiness. And in a lot of cases, it can take away your happiness. All right, wisdom, or Chakra Wisdom Oracle card. Let's go. Perception. We already look at that. Green as well. Green is the color of the day. Heart chakra. Unconditional love. Clarity. Perception. We got destiny on the bottom of the deck, followed by miracle. Wow. And then we got gratitude on the top of the deck. Double confirmation on the gratitude. We already got that with the celestial insights. All right, perception. Emerald stone. The heart knows what the eyes cannot see. The legend. A young princess wanders into her untended garden. As she claws through the decaying undergrowth, she finds a brilliant emerald stone. The stone speaks and tells the princess to open an old wooden door. She enters a dark corridor and the door slams shut. Afraid, she moves forward until her hand falls upon another door. It opens to reveal the same garden she left behind, only now it is beautiful, filled with flowers, butterflies, and birds. It is magnificent and familiar. The inspiration. Often our journey brings us full circle, leaving us to wonder why things happen. Wow. Emerald stone teaches us to follow through on whatever is before us. Going back is not an option. Personal inquiry. What in my life needs tending? How good will I allow myself to feel? Wow, very much connecting with the unconditional love that we got with the chakra affirmation. Key ideas. Transformation in the heart, change of perception, the unknown, promise of a richer experience. Keywords: beauty, openness, and appreciation. We already got double confirmation on the gratitude, appreciation, and gratitude. I mean, that's basically the same thing. Very much lining up with the unconditional love and the clarity for that one. We'll look at the destiny and the gratitude. We won't read the whole things, but we'll look at them and just see what their key points are. Destiny. Inspiration. It says black and white. Together we are stronger than alone. Inspiration. Take a risk. Dare to have your life the way you decide. Are you willing to make sacrifices to have what you desire? Personal inquiry. What tools do I need to form my own destiny? Am I ready for my destiny? Key ideas. True love, taking a stand, positive omen, radical thinking, deep satisfaction, ability to change. Keywords: love, pathway, and faith. And then we saw the gratitude. I don't really feel like we need to, but we will. Inspiration. Gratitude raises our vibration to a higher level. If you are unhappy in any relationship, gratitude reminds you that it is always in your power to change it. There is no mystery to being a good person. Good people just do good things. Personal inquiry. Who is the person I admire most and why? How can I live at that level? Key ideas: friendship, deep love, pregnancy, nurturing, unconditional love towards self and others. Keywords: appreciation, recognition, and esteem. So triple confirmation on the unconditional love, double confirmation on the gratitude. Being grateful for all the things that are around us, remembering the things that we're good at. How can we apply those things to our lives so that we can reach our destiny? For me, the destiny is lining up with the soul purpose that we got in the angel numbers, number 7. Embracing your destiny, embracing your soul purpose, embracing the journey, seeking clarity on what that may mean for you. Going back to our angel of abundance cards, take a divinely guided chance. Taking a chance on yourself to find out what will bring you true abundance, with going back to the dreams of abundance card. Embracing the changes, embracing and being grateful for the connections that you've made, remembering the things that you're good at. Remembering that something that maybe a flaw in one specific situation may actually be a strength in a different situation. Seeing things from a different perspective. Okay, let's see what we'll get next. We'll do animal allies next. Okay. A lot of green on the board today. Not being afraid to look at things from a different perspective. You know, a lot of times, going back to the guilt card from the Celestial Insights, a lot of times that guilt we carry is because we're looking at things from a negative perspective and positive perspective. So even though it may feel like a negative situation, trying to find the positive in that situation. And that requires a lot of strength to be able to do that. Angel numbers 404, number 7, and 1010. All right. Ooh, a silky. That's the first time we've seen that one. Also, notice the green in the background. Green is the theme for the day. All right, look at that. And I turned right to it. All right, silky superpowers. Protection, care, friendliness, softness, lightness, shining, being a lucky charm. Silky wisdom. When things feel hard, look for and seek out softness. Very much unconditional love. Stepping up self-care in gentle ways makes it easier to go within and tend to any tender spots. When Silky appears, look for ways to make everyday tasks and responsibilities easier. Release pressure to defer to outside expectations. What did we already talk about? Letting go of those expectations, embracing things how they are, not how you want them to be or think that they should be. Silky wants you to know it's a promising time to explore new ways to surprise and delight yourself. If you're feeling stuck, you may be overcomplicating situations. There are lots of spaces in your life right now where you can bring in more ease and simplify things. So going back to the perception card, looking at things from a different perspective, trying to not overcomplicating a situation. When you lead with love, whether that's especially self-love, if you look at things from that perspective, from the perspective of self-love, it can make making decisions easier. Open your eyes to, different strengths that you have, different maybe mindsets that may be holding you back. It's making my arm cold. My face is hot, but my arms are cold. All right, now we'll get a Wandering Heart Oracle. Yesterday we got Celebration. Number 14 is Celebration is what we... Autopilot is what's on the bottom of the deck as we're getting started. I don't know why I'm seeing it like this right now, but be aware of who you're giving your energy to. kind of going back to what we talked about earlier, when somebody shows you their true colors, don't try to paint them a different color. Be aware of who you're offering that unconditional love to. A lot of people will take advantage of that. You can do anything you want with your life. No wasted days. No reason to not try. Going back to our morning mantra for the day. Embrace your journey. Listen to your dreams. Embracing your soul purpose. Showing yourself that unconditional love so you can get your mind right. Going back to the angel number 404, mind energy. All right. Wandering Heart Oracle. The Fool. Look at that. I am on the bottom of the deck, followed by sacrifice. We did see the sacrifice yesterday. Follow your heart on the top of the deck. If you look in this card, hi there, happy Tuesday. Thank you for stopping by. If you notice in this card, you've got people of two different ethnicities. Don't let somebody just because somebody's different doesn't mean a connection can't be made. You know, a lot of times people judge others either by their ethnicity, their career choice, their life choices. Just because somebody is different doesn't mean they don't have something positive to offer. You know what I mean? Don't be so judgmental of others or yourself. Embrace those differences. Look at it, look at it from a different perspective. See it as an opportunity to learn from that person, to embrace those differences. That's just what I thought of when I saw that picture. Okay, so we got the Fool, I am, and follow your heart. Very much going along with what we've already seen this morning. Unconditional love, strength, connection, embracing the journey, admiration, admiring other people. Going back to kind of what we already talked about this morning. We all have different journeys. We've all experienced pain in different ways. And a lot of times that connection comes into our life so that they can offer a different perspective. Going back to the perception card that we already saw with the Wisdom Oracle, meeting somebody that's already been through, hypothetically, meeting somebody that's already been through what you are going through can open your mind, your heart, your soul, your spirit to see things from a different perspective because they're already out of it. June 6th is my birthday. Oh, well, happy early birthday. You know what? That is my brother's birthday, June 6th. My grandfather, who's already passed away, his birthday is today. And my brother's birthday is the 6th. So you're a Gemini. Happy birthday. Okay. Thank you for stopping by. So just remembering to embrace those connections that may be not what you're used to. Stepping out of your comfort zone to embrace the journey, embrace the knowledge, the clarity that, going back to our affirmation from earlier, that they may bring into your life. Okay, so we'll start with the Fool. A divine time to start fresh. counterproductive, and repetition. Smirks and eye rolls are being given. You know better. And when you know better, you do better. Period. This card invites you to examine your surroundings. Ask yourself the necessary questions. Are you engaging in productive activity? Are you entertaining healthy relationships? Are you ignoring undeniable deal breakers? Are you prioritizing your best interests? Are you moving with caution? Are you bending your moral code to hold space for the undeserving? Going back to what I just said, be aware of who you're offering that unconditional love to. Just because somebody comes into your life, remember, they may not be there to literally teach you, something informational. They may be there to teach you a lesson. Maybe that lesson can be to be cautious of who you share your energy with. Where was I at? Are you accommodating special needs for those who don't think twice about your comfort? Are you seeking adornment from an outside source? Are you being honest with yourself? Are you repeating habitual patterns that do not elevate you? Are you pretending to be glad about the shortcomings you receive? This card encourages you to strive for improvement. So that very much goes back to what we talked about yesterday, but also with what we've been talking about today. Letting go of the guilt of maybe bad choices that we've made in the past, accepting whatever clarity comes. It may not be what we want, but it may be what we need. There's a big difference. A lot of times we don't want what we really need. You know what I mean? Whether that's physical, emotional, spiritual, going back to what we said at the beginning of the video. You want the truth, but can you handle the truth? That's where that self-love, that unconditional love, that inner strength really comes into play. Sometimes we have to be open to hearing things about ourselves that we don't necessarily want to hear, or seeing things about ourselves that we don't necessarily want to see. Accepting the role that we played, being grateful for the lessons that were learned from that situation, releasing the guilt and the shame that we may carry, admiring the strength that we have that got us through that situation, embracing whatever those connections were that brought us that clarity, and not being a fool in the way of staying in that. I say it so much. It's one thing to have the knowledge. It's completely different to actually apply that knowledge. That's the hardest part. Learning isn't always easy, but the hardest part is actually applying that knowledge that you've learned. It's hard, and sometimes it hurts. It's uncomfortable, but it's important. Because that's part of our journey. Going back to the 1010 angel number, embracing your journey. Part of this journey is breaking those, going back to the Fool, breaking those habitual habits that we know aren't good for us. No matter what it is. It could be overeating. It could be oversharing, with people that you've just met. I used to be so bad about that. Like, I would meet somebody, going back to kind of what we talked about earlier, being careful of who you give your energy to. I used to be that type of person, and I still am to a point, but I had to kind of put a limit on it. When I meet somebody, I'm going to be open and authentic and honest with you about everything. I'll tell you my whole life story if that's what you want to hear, but not everybody deserves that. And not everybody is going to use that information in a positive way. So you have to be really careful about who and what you share. I feel like I went on a rant right there, but I needed to be said nonetheless. All right, then we got number 2, I am. I am love in its purest form. Vulnerability supports my evolution. Certainty and empowerment. You are the embodiment of strength. Wow. I mean, it's come up so many times today. Strength. Knowing your own strength. Emotional strength. Physical strength. Being aware of it. Remembering the things that you're good at. being honest with yourself that, just because somebody else doesn't see it as a strength, that doesn't mean that it's something negative. A lot of times, going back to what we saw yesterday with the jealousy card, a lot of times people will tell you that something is a flaw, but in reality, it's a strength. The only reason they are telling you it's a flaw is it's because it's a strength they don't have and they want it. And so they're jealous. So be careful of whose advice you take. Okay. You are the embodiment of strength. You've learned to be accepting of all flaws, knowing they do not define your existence. You have arrived back at your home state of being. Here you are at ease with free-flowing assertiveness. You know yourself. You are proud. You trust in your ability to make beneficial decisions. You have no regrets moving forward. You sit in gratitude. We've already gotten gratitude multiple times today. Appreciating the beauty that is life. This feeling is beyond reach. You are right where you are supposed to be. And then it gives a little affirmation at the end. It says, I am happy because I choose to be. I am adored because I deserve to be. The love I give out comes back tenfold. I am patient knowing all things arrive in divine timing. Bam. Like, I couldn't have said it any better myself. Loving yourself enough to 111:38 on the timer. Loving yourself enough to know that you deserve better, and knowing that an act of unconditional love for yourself is waiting for better. A lot of times we end up, especially if you're talking about like romantic relationships, a lot of times we end up in bad relationships because we don't want to wait for what we truly deserve. We get lonely, we get restless, we get lost on this journey and forget what it's all about, and we just take whatever is thrown at us. Remembering that not every connection is meant for a lifetime. Sometimes they are there to teach us something. Sometimes the universe brings them into our lives so that we can teach them something. And that something may be unconditional love. You would be so surprised at how many people in this world have never experienced unconditional love. All the love that they've experienced, it has some kind of judgment or has some kind of hold on them. Like, they're only going to receive that love when they give something to receive it. That's not unconditional love. I can love you despite all your flaws. Even though I may not want you in my life, I can still love you and encourage you to do better. And unfortunately, sometimes the way we do that is by leaving them behind. We offer our unconditional love. We remind them of the things that they're good at. We try to share our strengths with them so that they can see and embrace their own. But sometimes the only way they're truly going to learn that lesson is when we leave. I can love you even though I'm not there with you. I can encourage you even though you're not receiving that encouragement, if that makes sense. All right, then we got follow your heart, number 37. So we got 37 and 38. Wow, okay. Wherever the wind blows, go there. Expansion and bravery. This is an affirmation. The whole thing is an affirmation. When I think back to a time when I can truly say I was fearless, I always remember the feelings right before. Either I was tired of living a lie or I was tired of worrying about what others might have to say. Wow. I'm kind of tearing up a little bit. This is a full circle. Eventually, when you make the decision to live out your own truth and embark on your own authentic journey, or you choose to comfort others while they experience their own, Only you can decide which makes you feel the most complete. When I think back to the moments that I was daring, I remember the guilt rushing. We did get, okay, I'm gonna, fleeting from my body, the worries never disappeared. They just found their place. To each their own, I said. You are here for a reason. Now is the time to expand beyond the constructs of your own mind. Reach higher. Live how you want. Set beautiful goals for yourself. And remember, you are protected by a divine source. There is no right or wrong way to be. The moment you choose movement, Spirit moves with you. The consequences of your actions will always show up. Choose what you'd like to be rewarded for. So, very much going back to what we say often, the energy you put out is the energy that comes back to you. Wow. Like, I don't even I don't even know how to respond to that other than, you know, we all are responsible for the choices that we make. We're all responsible of how we show up in the world. How do you want to be remembered? How do you want to, what is the legacy that you want to leave behind? Not necessarily, you know, as a world star, but as your energy. What energy do you want to leave behind? When people think of you, those people that are no longer in your life, when they think back on the times that you had together, how do you want to be remembered? Beautiful. That was a beautiful message. I love that. Follow your heart. Follow your intuition. Embrace the journey. All right, now we will get, let's see. Now we'll do the Archangel Fire Oracle. Yesterday we got the twins. I am worthy. I am loved. I am blessed. I am strong. I am. All right. Archangel Fire Oracle. Our angel numbers for today were 404, Mind Energy, number 7, Soul Purpose, and 1010, Embrace the Journey. Embrace all of it. Not just the good, not just, you know, the parts that you think are worthy. Embrace all of it. Because it all has value. We all carry value. But it's up to us, you know, whether we embrace that value. Peace, kindness, empathy, and love. That's how I want to be remembered. That's beautiful. Yes. Same with me. I can admit that there was a time in my life where I was a very negative person. Not necessarily a bad person, but I looked at the world in a very negative way. I looked at other people in a very negative way. And once I broke through that, once I accepted the fact that happiness is a conscious choice, not an automatic response, and I began to focus on my own happiness instead of doing things to make other people happy, it made being kind and empathetic feel like a blessing instead of like a burden. Because for a long time, I made decisions based on what I thought other people wanted, what I thought other people expected. And once I broke free of that perception, that perspective, it really did turn my life around. You know, to me, in my personal opinion, the healing journey is never over, but we do reach different levels. And once we get to a certain level, part of our responsibility just as spiritual beings is to help others get to that level, right? I don't like seeing other people struggle. I don't like seeing other people sad or mad or, feeling unworthy, because I know what it feels like to feel that way. And so the empathy, the more I become comfortable with that about myself, the easier it is for me to empathize. When you stand in your purpose, the energy is beautiful. Most definitely. When you feel comfortable about where you're at and you embrace those things about yourself, it your strength, it rubs off on other people. When other people see you embracing all of it, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between, it gives you share that with other people. They see you embracing your journey and they want to embrace theirs. And what a better way to impact the people that you come in contact with, other than to encourage them to embrace their truth, whatever that truth is. If they don't want to feel that way, they have to do yes, most definitely. None of us want to do it. I shouldn't say that we don't want to do it. It's not easy for any of us to do it. It's uncomfortable. It's scary. It can bring up things that we don't really want to feel. But, there's an affirmation card that says it. Feelings need to be felt. Yeah, I say it all the time. Knowledge is power. Yes, most definitely. Most definitely. But going back to what I said earlier, having the knowledge and applying the knowledge are completely different. It's one thing to have it, but it's another thing. Look at that. Archangel Michael in the house. Nice. Gagiel on the bottom of the deck, feminine energy. Haniel on the top of the deck, also feminine energy. All right. Michael is number 23. Courage and protection. Having the courage to embrace the journey. Probably the most well-known of all the archangels, beloved Michael is the angelic protector, your personal bodyguard. He infuses you with courage and will ensure you and those you love are kept safe. Excuse me, I had to burp. Ask him to cut any negative cords, to relieve tensions and bring peace to your family and friends, and to watch over you and your loved ones. The angelic policeman, if you see a police car go by or witness a fight or argument, send Michael to help to surround the situation and his powerful transmuting flame to resolve any conflict. I do that a lot. I had to learn the hard. I know that feeling, and most of us that it takes experiencing all that pain and all the hardship and all the uncomfortableness to see what our journey is. It's not necessarily that we choose to learn the hard way, but that pain pushes us towards our purpose. But I'm the same way. A lot of the lessons that I've had to learn in life, I've had to learn over and over and over again, because it took associating pain with it for it to stick, Michael's color is a brilliant cobalt blue or indigo, and you may see blue sparkles when he's around. Whenever you feel afraid, uncertain, or need a little extra courage, call on Michael to wrap his blue cloak around you and shield you from harm. His message: release your fears. You are safe and protected. If you are in a time when you need a little bit more courage, know that I am with you, shielding you from any perceived danger. Michael is the angel of divine will. Think of the meaning of the words willpower, and let those words anchor you in your own sense of inner strength and determination. Imagine what it would feel like to be totally confident and secure in yourself, your environment, and your abilities. Hold on to that feeling and imagine you can amplify it within your stomach area, kind of like the Care Bears. If you wish, you can imagine a swirling indigo ball of light within that location. Now allow yourself to stand up straighter and taller. Bring the focus of your attention to the lower part of your body, such as your belly, legs, or feet, and consciously sink your weight into your physicality. Feel gravity anchoring you and imagine you are strong, tall, and sturdy like an oak tree. Now you are standing in your power. Even if you don't fully believe it, day by day, you will begin to feel more confident and assertive. So, very much lining up with everything that we've pulled this morning. Loving yourself unconditionally, finding your inner strength, even possibly your outer strength, to embrace the journey that is this life. Don't be afraid to open up your heart. Don't be afraid to experience new things. Just because, let me rephrase that. Just because something is scary doesn't mean it's bad. Anytime we are doing something new, pushing ourselves out of our comfort zone, experiencing something that we've never dealt with before, and that may be something as simple as, accepting yourself for who you are. If you've never been taught how to do that, which I totally understand, that is not something that I was not taught to love myself. I was not taught to have that confidence, and I know that a lot of people in this world have experienced shame and have had people, kind of going back to what we talked about earlier, connections in your life that had a negative impact, but it was there to teach us something. And maybe we don't see it at the time. And so we carry, going back to our celestial insights, we carry that guilt, we carry that shame, and sometimes we don't even know why. I could give a lot of different examples, but I don't want to start rambling about it. But showing gratitude for not only to yourself, but to the universe that you've made it through those things and that you can embrace who you are now. And if you haven't made it to that point, making it a point to do that, making it a point to love yourself enough to acknowledge what you've been through, embrace whatever you learned from those things, and using that to push you forward. It's not easy. We don't do it because it's easy. We do it because we want to feel better. We want to do better. We want to be better. And in order to do that, we have to heal. We have to learn who we are and love ourselves for who we are, not for what the world tells us we're supposed to be, not because, we have certain expectations of ourselves, because 9 times out of 10, those expectations are not going to be fully met. It may be in one shape or form, but it's not going to be what we expect it to be, or how we expect it to be, or who we expect it to be, or when we expect it to be. It's not up to us to make the timeline. It's up to us just to stay on the timeline, right? To not give up. All right, now we'll get an animal spirit card. Yesterday we got sea serpent, unicorn, and oyster. No matter how little you may feel, no matter how dim your light may be, don't give up. Love yourself and help your light shine brighter. We all have a spiritual light within us that we can use not only to heal ourselves, but to help guide others. You have a group. Thank you very much. I hope you have a great day too. Thank you for joining me today. We all have pain that we carry, but you can either project it out in a positive way or in a negative way. Are you going to use that pain to help other people heal, to help others overcome what you had to overcome? Or are you going to allow that pain to make you bitter and unhappy? I mean, I don't think anybody necessarily chooses to be bitter and unhappy, but in a way we do, because people choose not to do the work, which leaves them stuck in that bitterness. And I feel sorry for those people. I've met a lot of people like that throughout my life. Friends, family, spouses. And that whole misery loves company, that is so true. When you are in the company of a miserable person, it can make you miserable too. All right, we got Cobra. I think that's the first time we've gotten that one. Man. We got Dragonfly on the bottom of the deck. And Deer on the top of the deck. So we got Earth, Wind, and Fire out here. That's the name of a music group, isn't it? Earth, Wind, and Fire. All right. We got Dragonfly, Cobra. We'll go with Cobra first because that's what actually came out. Cobra is Earth energy. Or wait, Cobra is fire energy. My bad. Cobra, pausing, waiting, the inner teacher. It was 1:32:11 on the timer when I looked. The Cobra represents a teacher or spiritual guardian. The Cobra hovers and watches, ever present, ever protecting, ever loving. The essence of the Cobra is found deep within us in the form of the inner teacher and manifests externally in those special guides who have led us along our path. What would it feel like to be a student again? What are you ready to learn? Remember the old saying, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. When in balance, a student of life, humble and wise. When out of balance, a know-it-all and egocentric. To bring into balance, taking a class and study. For me, really, it's that way for everybody, but a lot of people don't see it that way. We are always learning. If you don't learn something new every day, you're missing out. Life is this is a journey of learning. All right, and then we have Dragonfly, which is air energy. Dragonfly, master of light, illusion, and the mind. The dragonfly is an ancient and ethereal creature that awakens a sense of wonder and awe. The dragonfly is a symbol of the mind, as it is always moving, shifting, shimmering, and changing. When the dragonfly card appears, it's worth considering the quality of your mind and perception. That very much lines up with our angel number 404, mind energy. Are they restless or still? Dreamlike or crystal clear? The situation at hand may be different than it appears at first glance. The dragonfly reminds us to calm the mind so the light of wisdom can shine through. What was I just talking about? About us shining our light. When in balance, sees clearly, joyful, and magical. When out of balance, can't concentrate in a busy mind. To bring into balance, focus on breath. So meditation, breath work. For me, that's meditation in general. Like, that's how I start meditation, is by focusing on my breathing. All right, and then we got deer. Which is earth energy. Loving, intuitive, graceful, the mother. The deer represents the feminine aspects of earth energy. This energy is available to all creatures, regardless of gender, but is especially potent in new parents. During the first few days, they are fully present, nurturing, and calm. Their inner beauty radiates, and a sense of grace calms the room. A deer personality affects others in this way, drawing them toward a quiet tenderness. The deer card may appear when a birth or celebration of new life draws near. We did get celebration yesterday. Or when a situation calls for absolute gentleness and compassion. Look at that. We saw compassion twice in our crystal cards. When in balance, receptive, compassionate, and nurturing. When out of balance, concerned and protective. To bring into balance, spend time in nature or with children. So embracing our inner child, loving our inner child, having that nurturing, compassionate energy, embracing that. Kind of, I mean, all in all, we've touched on that several times today. I'm almost empty. I am empty. All right, time to switch to tea. Right now, this is the ginger lemon tea. It helps with detox. Quick, go sit down. I'm not done yet. Go on. Go sit down. Go. Go. All right, now we'll get herbology card. No, you can't go outside until I'm done. I left it open for you earlier, and all you did was bark. Yeah. You can huff and puff at me all you want. I don't know if you could hear that on the camera. He just went. All right. I actually forgot to pull this card yesterday, so we didn't get one yesterday. Herbology Pocket Oracle. All right. Again, our angel numbers for the day, 404, number 7, and 1010. I can do anything I want with my life. No wasted days. No reason not to try. We got ginseng. Number 40, the magician. All right. I think this might be the first time we've gotten this card. Ginseng has a lot of medicinal uses. All right. Ginseng. Master manifester, boundless energy, potential, resourcefulness, and expansion. Astrological ruler, Uranus and Jupiter. Ginseng provides longevity and creative energy within each person. The shape of the root resembles a human figure, symbolic of its deeply restorative effect on the mind and body. Ginseng is likely the most studied herb in modern day research, but long before North America was colonized, Native American people used ginseng in medicine. They used the root for pain relief and digestive troubles. to calm the spirit and as a poultice to stance bleeding. So that's like where they grind the leaves up and put it on the skin. The people of the Great Lakes regions have used ginseng as an aphrodisiac. In China, the hotter and more stimulating variety of ginseng has long been one of the most important herbs in traditional medicine. It is considered a life-prolonging cure-all. Like Uranus, ginseng's medicinal abilities are like a lightning bolt of pure life energy to the nervous system, reviving our innermost recesses. Jupiter's influence allows it to strengthen our vitality, immune system, and general life force. As a primary adaptogen, it has strong regulatory effects on our hormonal and endocrine systems. Being a tonic herb that greatly calms and harmonizes the spirit, another trait ginseng gets from Jupiter. The guidance from ginseng, like the magician in the tarot, embodies the wizardry and brilliance. You are a master manifester, and now is the time to sow the seeds of your dreams to bring your intentions to fruition. The tools, skills, and wisdom you've gathered have led you to this moment. Wow, that very much talks about what we've already been talking about this morning. Ginseng's unique signature traits reminds you to keep a clear vision consistently, unmotivated by ego, status, money, and vanity, to manifest a deeply powerful and creative light in alignment to your higher self. Reversed ginseng reminds you not to fall into the trap of empty intentions just because of the obsessive focus on the end result. Deeply listen and realize to the release to the wizard within, and act solely with intention and for the greater good. So very much going back to what we've already talked about, embracing the journey. It's not a competition. You know, it's not about the destination. It's about the journey and embracing that journey. Ginseng is a very good herb. It's used in tea. It's obviously used in poultices and medicinal purposes all around the world. It's well known. Even people that don't necessarily have knowledge of herbology know what ginseng is. Let me look at this picture for a minute. If you look at that wheel right there, that's almost like the wheel of life, or even the medicine wheel from Native American medicine. He's wearing green. Green is the color of the day with the heart chakra. We've seen it out here a lot today. Perception, clarity, unconditional love, the silky. I don't know why I'm here seeing it this way, but powerful things come in small packages. Oh, thank you for the green heart. Hello. I hope you're having a great day today. Sending you positive, productive energy. But just because these birds are little does not mean they're not powerful. If you've ever interacted with a silky chicken, they can be very aggressive, especially the roosters of the silkies. Remembering to share unconditional love and have compassion, not only for yourself, but the people that come into your life. You know, remembering that you don't know what people have been through. You don't know that the pain that they're experiencing, you know, just sharing your love with them, even if it's just in a passing moment. Abundance comes in so many different forms. Abundance isn't just about material and financial gain. having the abundance the abundance of unconditional love to share with others. It can make a huge impact. I'm not talking about giving people money. I'm not talking about giving them stuff. Giving them your time, giving them your knowledge. Hello, happy Tuesday. Thank you very much. I appreciate you being here. Thank you for reciprocating that energy. Knowing that, and I say it often because it's so true, and I think with everything that goes on in the world, people really do forget that your time, your energy is the best gift you can give anybody. I don't care who they are or what role they play in your life. Your time, your energy, your empathy, your encouragement, just that unconditional loving energy is the best gift you can give anybody. You can't return it. You can't get a refund, but you can embrace that moment and make the most of it. Even if it's just passing a stranger and smiling at them. I've done it. Have you? Oh, Patch Adams. If you haven't seen that movie, go watch that movie. It's got Robin Williams in it. That is a beautiful movie, and it really embraces that act of kindness, that of sharing energy. Being grateful for the people that do that for you. Being grateful for the people that have been there in your life when you needed them the most. All right, we're almost done. We've gone a long time today. 1:46:35 on the timer. We're going to pull from the Mary Magdalene Oracle, and then we'll be done. Yesterday, we got the fifth power. I am a body and a soul. Mary Magdalene, full of grace, what advice can you give us today? If you don't know the story of Mary Magdalene, I was drawn to her for years before I actually learned about her story. I actually got a book of her, and I'm embarrassed to admit that I haven't even started reading it yet, but Mary Magdalene was a beautiful soul. All right. If you admire somebody, tell them that you admire them. Remind them of the things that they're good at. You know, we did in the Namaste, we got remember the things that you're good at. But you may come into somebody else's life to remind them of what they're good at. You know, a lot of times with all the negativity that surrounds us in this world, we forget. We get consumed. Judgment and golden light. Look at that. Beautiful. Golden light. Healing comes from within. Judgment. The whole point is to be human. Golden light is the one that came. We got Christ on the bottom of the deck. Love knows only mercy. And resurrection on the top of the deck. The ego dies and the soul rises. These are long messages, so we're just going to read the golden light because I actually referenced that earlier, talking about the light that's within us, sharing that light with others. The golden light, healing comes from within. We have the power to use our imagination in the effort of healing. If we close our eyes, we can immerse ourselves in an inner apothecary. We can allow the imagination to conjure and create potent images, stories, and messages that feel like a balm for the soul to receive. Like a sacred medicine cabinet uniquely made for us that can only come from within. In Toni Morrison's masterpiece, Beloved, she writes, freeing yourself was one thing. Claiming ownership of that freed self was another. End quote. How do we claim and take responsibility for this self we have freed from the ego? Oh, wow. This is the first time we've gotten this card. I think we each have to live into the answer for ourselves. For me, my answer is that I claim my freed self by loving myself fiercely. And if not fiercely, then as lovingly as I can in each moment. What does that mean? That means staying conscious and aware of whether or not I'm being merciful with myself. Wow, very much going back to the unconditional love that we got. Am I being too hard on myself? Am I allowing harsh judgment, either from my own ego or someone else's, to harm me? It's an essential need to want to take a shower or bathe daily, or at least frequently each week. We often stop short of realizing that our interior landscape is more critical even than how we appear externally. And the most powerful way to cleanse and heal the interior world of our own heart is to bathe ourselves in golden light. Gold is always the color of halos depicted by artists throughout the centuries. Gold is the goal of the ancient alchemists because gold is unalloyed. It's pure, meaning only itself. It's unified, one thing. It has been the mythic and material symbol of divine love for centuries because it has the highest value and deepest worth. This is a reminder to use the power of your imagination to take full ownership of your freed self. Close your eyes and allow an otherworldly golden light to surround and suffuse you from the crown of your head down to the soles of your feet. The soul voice meditation. What does it feel like to be bathed in golden light? What does it feel like? Do you recommend a book about my... Oh, yes. Sorry, I just saw that. The book I got is The Gospel of Mary Magdalene. I can't pronounce his whole name. Jean, I think it's Yves. It's a foreign name. This is what it looks like. I got mine on Amazon, but there's all kinds of like online used bookstores you can use. His last name is spelled Leloup. And it basically breaks down the gospel of Mary Magdalene. I've scanned through it a little bit, and I did a lot of research before I bought the book, deciding which book I wanted to get. So this one has a lot of good reviews. Let's see. Let's see. International College of... There's stickers on it, so I can't read the whole thing. Let's see. Readers will welcome this perceptive translation and the insightful commentary by scholar mystic, his name. The journey of the soul and other profound and subtle teachings of Jesus and his beloved Miriam will enlighten modern seekers. So, you can probably get, I think, if I remember correctly, they have like an audiobook version of it too, but I wanted a physical copy so that I can go back to it if I want to. But there's a lot of, I'm trying to think of that guy's name. William Donahue, he goes by Bill Donahue. He has a YouTube page. He has a lot of good insights about Mary Magdalene and about the spiritual aspect of the biblical text. A lot of people know that, there's a lot of different, you can look at the Bible from a lot of different perspectives, but a lot of people are not familiar with the spiritual aspect of the biblical text. My goal now is to find like an old traditional Bible that hasn't been altered. But I have learned recently that there's a Bible that's called the Geneva Bible that I guess they banned it when the King James Bible came out. I grew up with the King James Bible. It's all I've really ever known. But if you're if you're just looking to gain knowledge and that's something that I've been looking into is the Geneva Bible. So I hope you got to see that answer. I don't know if you're still watching or not. So sorry if I didn't see your question soon enough. As always, be grateful for what you have, the big, the small, and the blessings yet to come. If you see a need out there today, tomorrow, next week, if there's any possible way that you can fill that need, please do so. You may not only better their day, but you could possibly change their life, and you never know the impact it could have on yours. Thank you if you've made it to the end with me. We've gone a long time today, 1:55:44 on the timer when I looked. As always, a thumbs up would be great. A subscribe to the channel would be even better. My Cash App information will be in the description box, and it's also in my information section on my main page. I hope everybody has a positive, productive day, and I'll see you next time.